lawyer and economist as well, Fred Nziako. It's good to have you join us this morning.
Good morning.
All right. Now,
Thank you.
Yes, let's get into this proper. I'd like us to be able to touch a lot of things within the time we have.
Yes.
Now, the meeting with the acting president, a lot of, when they were going into the meeting, they had lots of hope that one way or the other, all the agitation or some of the shopping lists they had will be seen and looked into by the government. Now, what's your perspective generally when it comes to the meeting the Igbo leaders had with the acting president?
My perspective is that such meetings are important, and it was good it was held. But I quickly say that the security agencies have created problems for the acting president by not acting timeously. By the time that irresponsible statement was made by the coalition of northern leaders asking the whole Igbos to leave the north, we expected, in accordance with the instruction, or rather the order given by the Kaduna State governor, that they should be arrested.
It was actually
they were not promptly. The security agencies did not do anything.
It was actually a youth group that made the statement,
yeah,
not the elders.
When you say youth group, how old is that man that read the statement? Naturally, by all definition, that man cannot be called a youth. Yes, he may not be from Northern Elders Forum, but that man, from all calculation, all statistics, cannot be called a youth. The man is approaching his 60, if not about that. So, if at 60 years he's calling himself a youth and hiding under the umbrella of youth organization to reel out such crisis on the nation, such man cannot be called a youth and must be held responsible for his action. And the governor said that he should be held responsible, and the security agencies up to now never held him responsible. And it now festers. When it now festered, every region, every part, every nationality under the country has now started giving out one kind of order or the other, from Arewa, where it started, to Igbo groups, to Midwest, to Middle Belt, to the Oduduwa, to South, and the rest of them. So, if security agencies did what they should have done timeously, this stress that they are giving the acting president would have been avoided.
Now, beyond the security operatives doing something timelessly, using your own word,
yes,
that means we cannot even describe this as youthful exuberance. It is not.
No, it cannot be described as those.
Like you said, different segments. I mean, there seems to be upheavals here and there,
yes,
agitations and all of that. Does it mean that 50 years after the Civil War and all that Nigeria has gone through, military interregnum and all of that,
yes,
Nigeria still has not found its Nigerianness?
No, we cannot live in denial. It's obvious in all aspects of our life in this country that Nigeria is living in denial. Nigeria is not a nation. Nigeria is a geographical entity as we speak. That statement made that statement made by Awolowo over 50 years ago is still valid up to today, because who are working towards the Nigerianness of Nigeria? Who and who? Nobody. Everybody is working towards his region. Everybody is trying to scramble for what can come out from Abuja. Everybody is scrambling because of that unitary system of government.
So what will it take then to achieve it? Is it a referendum? Is it the restructuring that's been talked about?
Naturally, what should achieve that is restructuring. What is restructuring after all? Restructuring is do your very best in your own way and in your own environment, and then bring in that your very best to the center. That's a restructuring. And then I don't believe anybody should be afraid of restructuring, because what we even had before the unitary system was introduced, what we had in First Republic, was what seemed like a true federal system. Yes, there were challenges and problems, and then the soldiers now came in to bastardize the entire system, but it's not too late to go back to what is good. We're not talking about regionalism the way it was practiced then. We're not talking about going back to the parliamentary system of government. Even under our presidential system of government, we can say restructure Nigeria and make bold steps towards national development, and then ensure that each region, look, the country is so blessed that the unitary system we have is suppressing the development of the nation. Let me take, for instance, what is wrong with exploiting the coal resources in Enugu? Simply because of unitary system. Every mineral resource belongs to federal government, and then you cannot exploit what you have.
And when they're not interested,
and then we're not interested, the thing lies there and becomes a burden over time.
And the state government can't do anything.
You can't do anything. Inland waterways, federal, everything federal, even roads, federal. As we speak,
power, federal.
Power, federal. So it is unnecessary, and it is so unwieldy. By the time you restructure the nation, When we talk about restructuring, some people who are not interested are afraid that they will lose power. You're not going to lose power. All you need to do is to bring out the very best in you.
But the sentiment of restructuring and what is going on at the political level doesn't seem to really bother the ordinary man on the street, the Igbo man, the Yoruba man, or the Hausa man for that matter. Is it a failure on the part of the political class and the direction they're going right now? If care is not taken, they might take Nigeria and Nigerians to a place where you don't
when we call somebody
want it to go to.
When we call somebody a leader,
yeah,
there is a reason why the fellow is a leader. A leader is you show the way. People are elected in office by others. Others who elected them, the electorate have surrendered their sovereignty individually to the leaders. The leaders should show the way. So if the leaders fail to show the way, and that is what we are having.
Are you confident in what the acting president is trying to do now?
The acting president is doing marvelously well, but it is a stress on him caused by security agencies. And meanwhile, the so-called leaders, I use the word so-called, pardon my choice of word, but the so-called leaders don't go back to talk to the people. By the time they come out of that meeting from Aso Villa, they end up in their residences, in their homes in Abuja. How many of them will go down to the people who are really agitating? How many of them will come down to the people, hold town hall meetings, hold community development association meetings, and then talk to the people and explain to them that this is the situation, this is the way to go.
All right, Fred, let's touch on some of the shopping lists by the Igbo leaders. They talked about the federal appointments. In fact, they talked about marginalization generally.
The word is deprivation, not just, it has gone beyond marginalization.
Okay, now,
it is now deprivation.
Okay, fine. Let's put it into perspective.
Yes.
When it comes to that deprivation,
yes,
every section of this country is still crying foul. They're still saying we're not getting what we're supposed to get. So is it peculiar to the Southeast?
It cannot be true that every section is crying. There are degrees of cries. Okay. Some cries are wails. The Southeast are wailing. If you see the experience the people have crossing the Niger Bridge to get across to the other end, every day they are robbed. Every day they spend hours on end. And it is terrible when there are festivities. And it cannot be said that a bridge that was constructed in 1962 is still the only bridge linking the east and the west of Nigeria, and it is also used to cross the east and get to the north. So that alone, if you go to the whole roads in the east, you can never see such terrible roads, federal roads in the whole of the region. I have once taken it up against the governor of Anambra State and said, why can't you governors come together, do this bridge, and then demand for a recompense from federal government? And he said federal government had not given authorization for them to do that. So that does that beat you? Recently, they did. Recently, it was celebrated that Fashola had allowed, the Minister for Works had allowed Lagos State to do the road going to Nigerian airport at Lagos. And it was a celebration that it was a gift for Lagos at 50. Does it not amuse you that in this day and age, instead of every region, every state, every organ developing itself, we are talking about center? It cannot happen.
Okay,
that
and
you have to take care of even primary education from federal government.
And you have the governor of Yobe State, Ibrahim Gaidam, saying that, of course, condemning Arewa youths for their statement. Governor Rocha Sokorocha, on the other hand, the Imo State governor, has, criticized IPOB for its call for Biafra and all of that. Do you expect more of such statements coming from leaders like this? Is that what will solve the problem, or do you expect more?
My sister, the leaders should not wait until things get out of hand before they begin to condemn what is condemnable. The governor, the very moment they gave that responsible statement in Kaduna, only Governor El-Rufai gave a statement, and it was not followed up. Other governors behaved as if they didn't know what was going on, and that was why people started feeling that those people who gave that statement were representing some entrenched interests. And then by the time others started giving their own threats here and there, that's when everybody started realizing, oh, this shouldn't have happened. Leaders should be leaders and not wait until things get out of hand before they begin to do what is right to be done. Yes, Okorocha is criticizing IPOB. What many people don't know is that when you say Igbos want to secede, it is a terrible overgeneralization. Some young men who feel cheated are agitating that if you want us inside, let us be inside. If you don't want us inside, let us be outside. That is the agitation. And then they have followed it in non-violent manner. We expected that government should engage them in one way or the other. And that engagement will include understanding of the polity.
But how many people, how
this-
many regions will you really engage? Is it not a failure of leadership to provide, politics, like they say, is the equitable distribution of the commonwealth? That is,
Who gets
that's,
what,
who
when,
gets
and how?
what? You have the Niger Delta,
That is economics.
Niger Delta on the one hand is complaining. You have, of course, the Northeast, they're
Yes.
complaining too, and all of that. So should it be an engagement, you know, with each region, or just simply provide the basic things that, you know, make life worth living for everyone across board?
Providing those basic things that make life worth living. How do you go about it? You go about it by, number one, you allow the people, the environment to exercise their God-given talent, the environment to make use of their God-given resources, and then contribute to the center. And that is what we call true fiscal federalism. And if you begin to shy away from it, for how long are you going to shy away from it? Very recently, people are beginning to even lose confidence and hope in democracy. Very recently. And that was why people started thinking about military coup. You remember very recently, it was in news that people were even beginning to think about pushing away civilian democracy. But that is a terrible thought process in the mind of anybody. The leaders must provide that environment. And then if this existing system cannot allow you, let us tinker with the system. And in tinkering with the system, if it involves referendum, so be it. If it involves true federalism, so be it. But let everybody and every region work towards the development of their own region and themselves, and then for the center, so that we remain a common, united, indivisible Nigeria.
Okay.
With justice and equity.
That's
Fred
a good place to
Zako, lawyer, economist, thank you very much for lending your voice this morning on the show.
Many thanks.
Thank you so much.
Many thanks.
Right.